Hello and welcome back to the Ball Logic podcast. I'm the Matrix. I'm here with Flanders. To support the show, make sure that you like and subscribe and follow. And if you're listening on audio, get onto those 5-star reviews. But mate, we just had an absolutely huge day of NBA, didn't we?
Massive day. We had a lot of guys go big, and some guys that probably should have gone big that didn't. So there was a lot to pull apart. Pretty much every team's played a game now. Still a couple that haven't, but yeah, it's really good to see some guys getting games under belts.
And we'll do a probably a rapid fire recap because we had 12 games today, heading into two. I think the best thing for fantasy is who you can target in these next two games.
Yep.
When we have a look at the games going forward, but yeah, look, a little bit of a recap on what's gone on, and yeah, just in case you missed anything, you can still, I suppose there is probably some. Phew, dare I say, season-long keepers on some waiver wires, and we can probably look at who we can add, can't we?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's plenty of guys there that have got roles, especially if not for the early part of the season, potentially for the season, that are still living out there on some waivers on some low roster numbers. So guys to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and the first game was the Cavs versus the Knicks, and the Knicks came away with this one 119 to 111. I suppose the big one was that we saw Jalen Tyson start. Didn't do much with the ball. Didn't see much from, I suppose, Lonzo Ball as well. But we saw Donovan Mitchell kind of dominate this one, didn't we, mate?
Yeah, big Dono over there in Cleveland. Yeah, he had a really, really good game there. Sam Merrill had a good game as well out there. Ended up fouling out here, put up 6 fouls, but yeah, 19 points, 3 balls for Sam Merrill. I think that's pretty happy and someone that you might find out there on some waivers that could be worth jumping on with no Darius Garland for a bit.
Yeah, and it's more the 28 minutes. Like I liked, what I saw from Dean Wade with 28 minutes as well. But I think Hunter's a lot closer than Darius Garland right now. So yeah, the pick, if you were targeting someone, not that you think 6 from 11 is going to happen or 5 from 10 from three is going to happen very much, but it was the 28 minutes and the plenty of opportunity is probably what I liked from Merrill.
Yeah, big fan of that. Good opportunity there, but he was really, really good there. And on the other side, we got to see the new look Knicks with no Tibbs now, and we've seen a lot more management of minutes, unlike what we would have expected from a New York Knicks side last season. So, talk me through the
I
guys there, mate.
I mean, OG still played 37 minutes, so that was probably just like a Tibbs team, but it's probably your stars like your Anthony Towns with your 30 minutes. Look, 19 and 11 is nothing to spit chips about, but doesn't really scream that top 5 guy than he's been in the last few years. It's Ariel Hakporti, the NBL legend, dare I say, Melbourne United king, in there with the 17 minutes and the start. I suppose there's been some injuries there. There's not too much I can see worth picking up. Everybody there is probably already rostered. If I had to focus on anything, yeah, well, Huck Porty got the start, but it's probably Miles McBride being, the first guy off the bench, getting 25 minutes and that 15 points off the bench, despite not many counting stats.
Yeah, I think Deuce McBride getting some good minutes, and I think we're seeing that use of the bench that we probably typically wouldn't see the Knicks a lot more. I think we're all pretty off cat consensusly across the Ball Logic team, and I think we're probably seeing what we expected there. 19 and 11 is probably about where we expected him to be. Still 3 turnovers. He was still reasonable from the line. Yeah, I'm a big fan of OG. I think him getting those minutes there. I still think there's a pathway if anyone's going to get those minutes. And I don't think he's going to get 37 and a half every night. But if anyone's going to sit constantly 34 to 36 most nights, I think OG is probably going to be the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep things ticking along, and a genuine poo slinger in the Nets versus the Hornets. Hornets getting the win. Um, honestly, man, the Nets were kind of what I expected. So many people got off the bench. There was so much sharing of the minutes. Everybody got out there, and it's a real dumpster fire. I know I played Diorman in one of the leagues. I watched the first, 6 or 8 minutes and saw Michael Porter Jr. probably take 15 shots out there and then not do much with the rock afterwards, mate. Like, I am leaning towards drawing a line through Brooklyn at this stage.
Yep. Yeah, I'd be pretty comfortable to do the same thing. The most minutes anybody had was Tyrese Martin with 20, just under 26 minutes there. And there is a handful of guys here, plus over half a dozen guys here in the 20s. They are just sharing it around everywhere. They got plenty of guards there. The only guy that didn't play was Danny Wolf, and he was out for injury or illness. So that shows what they are doing out there. I do not want a part of that in fantasy.
And the Hornets, I've got somebody that I think should be targeted, and that's Ryan Kalkbrenner. I really didn't talk too much about him on the season, but there with the 26 minutes and the double-double in his first game, the 2 blocks were nice as well. 10 and 11. I do think that he's somebody that should be rostered and is probably not in your leagues. Look, we saw 25 minutes from Con Knipple, and you might say, oh, well, why aren't you talking about him? But to be completely honest, his 11 points and 5 rebounds weren't as impactful as Brenner's. And
Mhm.
I do just think a double double, and we're in like there's some leagues that you get bonuses for double doubles in points leagues, or you do get a whole category for double doubles. Just Kalkbrenner's straight off the bat, 26 minutes, and the big double double there was enough basically for me to add him in a lot of the leagues. I think they showed their hand when it comes to the pecking order straight away.
Yeah, straight away there. Some good minutes off the bench there for Musa Diabate. But yeah, I think they showed their hand, and I think we're all pretty happy there. But I think they're actually getting a reasonable spread, unlike the Nets, between like Con Knipple, Miles Bridges is going to do what Miles Bridges does. Kalkbrenner's a great option that you can still get, and Brandon Miller and Lamelo have been pretty much consensus top 3-4 round guys. So uh, the starting lineup over at the Hornets is fantasy relevant.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have said that other years. Um, this one was a ripper. I spent a lot of time in the car today, so this one for me was listened to on the radio. And look, I came in thinking about the minute split between Kalel Ware and Nikola Jovic, but to be honest, maybe we should have backed the experience of some of the guys that we knew in Norman Powell and Andrew Wiggins, who was going late in these ones. But a guy, if I had to pick anybody off your waiver wise that maybe we could target, and I know I've been getting notifications all day, is Davion Mitchell. Like, I knew he'd be
Mhm.
starting, but I kind of expected. To be honest, I kind of expected Norm Powell and friends to do a lot of the handling of the ball, but Davion Mitchell just looked like the starting point guard and didn't miss an absolute beat in this one.
Yeah, he played really, really well. I don't think anyone would be unhappy with what he did. That's the second highest minute count for anybody out there, only behind Norman Powell. So really, really good minute split for him there. 16, 12, and 6. So you'll take that out of him. You got 2 steals and a block for Davion. That's wonderful. And a positive plus minus. So one of those things, he's effective both ends of the court, which is always nice to read into that.
And look, Davion Mitchell should definitely be, your highlighted player that's not on rosters. But Jaime Jaquez Jr., 29 minutes, the first guy off the bench there, 13 and 6. Look, shooting 85% isn't really sustainable, only missing his 3-point shot there, but it's just when you see 29 minutes there in in that regular season kind of game, that you should probably take notice. And just like you have a
Yep.
look at the other guys coming off the bench, 13 minutes, 18 minutes, 13 minutes. Like Harkes Jr. really outplayed Jovic and Kalel Ware as well in this one. So yeah, and they just slid their guys around. I just think that he probably should be rostered as well.
Yeah. Feel for the Kalel Ware owners out there too. Only the sub 14 minutes for him. Yeah, 7 points and 4 boards with the block. It's a lot of guys. Some guys are taking him, around the 100 mark or even earlier in some cases. Feel for those owners out there and hope for the turn or hope for the trade. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and Orlando, to be honest, a completely top heavy team. I want to glaze straight over them. Where I went for some assist streamers when it came to Tyus Jones, I really saw those minutes get soaked up by Anthony Black today. And to be honest, you can draw a line through anyone that isn't, a starter on this team. To be completely honest, um,
Yep.
Desi Bain, Bankero, and Franz Wagner. Um, Fuck me, they took nearly 60 shots between the three of them, and that's the way that they're going to play. Nobody else taking more than 10 shots than those three. They're going to create all the offense, and yeah, it's just a team that I'm not going to be looking for waiver wire pickups.
Nah, happily avoid them this year for sure, mate. After that, we've seen Brano's Hawks versus the Toronto Raptors, mate. And tell me what you've seen out here. The score wasn't as tight in the end as I think we probably could have hoped for, but
Look, in my tipping comp, I would have probably taken the Hawks, but I saw what I've seen all preseason when it comes to Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett. Just taking a hell of a lot of shots. Scotty Barnes showing why he's a second or third rounder there as well, and Jakob Pertl in only the 22 minutes is what I would have been disappointed in. Just keeping your percentages in check there. Again, nobody outside of the starting five was really draftable, and nobody really putting their hand up except in deeper leagues that are Grady Dick there. But with the Hawks, I'm okay with what I saw fantasy wise with Trey, with Jalen Johnson, with Kristaps, with Dyson, with Ricochet. But what worried me was the minutes, and maybe it was just that they were getting pumped. But when I start to see Luke Kennard play 30 minutes, Nickel Alexander Walker playing 30 minutes despite shooting 13% from the field, I've got some question marks about them, and I hope it was only because they were getting pumped because, look, there's not a world where Nick Allen and Luke Kennard should be playing those sort of 30 minutes when you've got, Dyson Daniels, Trey Young, and Zachary Ricochet out there.
yeah, Ricochet was out. He was injured for a bit there. I got the notification at work, and that was really making me very happy to see that. And Dyson was in foul trouble for a fair bit of this game. He finished with the 5,000. He carried them for a fair bit of the game too. So limiting the minutes there because it's some early foul trouble is always disappointing to see. So yeah, probably the higher usage there. So for those guys who of owners, I'd expect to bounce back. But yeah, 4-3 and 2 with 2 steals for Dyson is disappointing. But I think we're seeing good things out of him and just hope that they can get some minutes back in the next few games and really see where they are.
There's not too many times in the last few years that we've seen 76ers beat the Celtics, but today was one of them. We saw Dom Barlow start, but to be honest, this was all about VJ Edgecombe today. Not rostered in every league, and 34 points, the most amount of points by a rookie since 1956. Had 26 shots, shooting 50% from the field, 34 and 7. Had an absolute blinder, and 40 points from Maxi as well. It was just you don't expect to see a coming out party on the first game. And to be honest, if it was anyone today, it would have been Cooper Flag. But yeah, today it was Edgecombe.
Yeah, yeah, and he played his ass off. 42 minutes, 26 shots for that man out there. He hit a good percentage, what shot at 50, from 3 shot at 38 and a half. From the line, probably a little bit to be desired there, but yeah, 34, 7 and 3 with a steal. I will happily take that every day of the week. Only the 2 turnovers for him. I was a big fan of that and opened up a lot for Tyrese Maxey as well. So he got the 40 and 6 as well. 2 steals and a block. So I think every owner there is happy, except for one at the center there, Joel Embiid. That was a bit painful to see a bit of the knees not liking him so far this year. What's your understanding of that, mate?
Look, I don't know. I'm no physio, but just didn't look right out there. What was it? 19 minutes and
20, yeah.
sorry, 20 minutes in the end. Just didn't play very well. Didn't look himself. I mean,
Shot one
like
on nine.
there's a reason he was going so late in drafts. And look, I hope he can come good. But look, right now, um, honestly, and it's super sad to say it right now. When you're on a big game and you need somebody to sit, it might even be Embiid at the moment. Praying
Yep.
that he comes
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, exactly. One of only two 76ers with a negative plus minus at minus 16. Yeah, the other one was Kelly Oubre Jr. So yeah, that's probably disappointing in the heights that he's fallen from MVP Joel Embiid to yeah 4, 6, and 2 on 20 minutes in the opener. So yeah, disappointing there. But
What I
the
was
other side of the court, yeah,
Yeah, I was pretty keen to see how this shook out, and I didn't expect to see 37 and 35 minutes from Pritchard and White, but we saw it, and that's why we were drafting them, of course. But Neemias Keita, 17 and 8, 87% from the field isn't sustainable. But just how many minutes guys like Boucher and Luka Garza got off the bench was, I suppose, welcoming for Keita owners, or if you're looking to add a center from your bench, that is where I would go amongst all centers available. To be completely honest.
yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I think they know the lineup they want to run. Jalen Brown got his shots up. He took 18 shots, 25 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. I think that's probably what I'd expect out of him. Shot 50% from the field, 50% from three, which is a bit high, 83% from the line. That's probably going to be a very similar stat line to what we see throughout the rest of the year. And I think we're all pretty okay with that. Derek White got his 25 points, built a stat sheet as he always does, put up 20, took 20 shots, probably a bit lower on the percentages than you'd hope. And young Anthony Simons also got his minutes coming off the bench there with 32. So yeah, there was a good split there between the guys that I think we all expected to get them.
Mate, we're only about halfway through the game, so we're going to punch through these real quick. Um, Pistons lost to the Bulls in what was actually a real cracker in the end. Um, Osar Thompson, 11, 7, and 9. That's fine. Duncan Robinson played a lot of minutes and did a lot of cardio, but it was Ron Holland and Isaiah Stewart, the guys that might be on your waivers. 20 and 10 from Isaiah Stewart and 19, 4, and 3 from Ron Holland. So there's the guys that you might add. Take us through the Bulls, mate.
Yeah, Buzelis, as we all probably expected, he went off really, really well. He went 26 and 1. Vooch got a double double. He went 28 and 14, 2 assists. Josh Giddey double doubled as well, 19, 5 and 11. But off the bench there, we're seeing a bit out of Kevin Herter there. He got his 15 points. And Ayo Dosunmu as well, 14, 5 and 2. So pretty happy there. That's someone that you could potentially look to stream throughout the year on your waivers. Good to see him getting 26 minutes as well.
Yeah, and look, in the next one, the Pels played the Grizzlies, and again, chatting to centers, I kind of expected to be talking about Eves Messi, but to be honest, I'm talking about Neemias Queta and Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart there. Sorry, Isaiah Thompson. There's too many players in this league. Because Eves Messi, while getting 29 minutes, really didn't impact the game too much. But yeah, you would have liked what you saw from Zion and Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole started this one really hot, despite not getting any counting stats, except being listed at the point guard spot there. But the Grizz, Jalen Wells was added late in a lot of leagues when you started to look at their depth chart with the injuries. 14, 4, and 3. You probably wouldn't have been disappointed. You would have been disappointed if you're a Sani Aldama drafter. Seeing a lot of his minutes going to Cedric Coward there. shooting 100% from the field, just getting some counting stats and playing really well on debut there.
Yeah, for sure. There was some really good streaming options going through there. Jar dropped 35. Kept his season opening 30 plus average going nice and healthy there. Someone that has appeared on a few areas that is nice to stream. Herb Jones, so could be one to grab and potentially keep there. He put up 17, 9, and 3 with 3 steals and a block. So he gets you some defensive stats and some counting stats without hurting you too much on your percentages. So just somebody to keep in mind there, mate.
Jock,
Over with
Jock
Giannis
Landau
and his
with all the Landau with all the injuries too. Fouled out in the third. Honestly, yeah, looked unreal in 25 minutes. Whereas the numbers might not say it. In deeper leagues, he's probably one that you can add if you're in like a 20 teamer or something like that.
Yeah, definitely somebody to have a look at there. Yeah, we cross over to Milwaukee where we had the Wizards take on the Bucks. Chris Middleton put up 23. Kaishawn George popped off really, really well there. Some good percentages there. He gave us 21, 9, and 4 with a steal and 2 blocks. And that's probably about it. We had a good run out of Trey Johnson there on some bench minutes. CJ McCollum continuing his pattern of hot or cold, shot 28% from the field and didn't even get 10 points. So, yeah, just somebody to keep an eye on there. He'll be very hot or cold all year. He's been no different in the past.
I'm not paying too much attention to the minute split when you have a look at their full roster being used, but I think it was 40-18, approaching first quarter time here. So yeah, it just really turned into a blowout quickly. And 26 minutes from Giannis Antetokounmpo is not what we expect to see either, but 37, 14, and 5 with 3 blocks. 37, 14, and 5 with no blocks. Sorry, I was getting mixed with Miles Turner there, who's really taken the defensive blocks off him, but a real good one. But yeah, probably the note there is the 26 minutes, and I don't expect to see Jericho Sims, Gary Harris, and blokes like that off the bench again in a hurry. But I think you can add probably 20% to the top 7 in this team, and you've got more of a representation of how the lineup's going to be, which I suppose can make you look at a Ryan Rollins, mate.
Yeah, for sure. There's some good options there. He ran only 30 minutes off the bench there, so pretty happy there. The counting stats probably don't go along with it there. And yeah, for all Giannis owners, to make sure you're not panicking, he nearly took a shot every minute there. 26 shots and 27 minutes. So yeah, I would not panic there. 37 is going to turn to 40, 45s pretty quickly once they start running in for proper minutes. So just something not to worry about there. We've seen probably the upset of the day here, mate. The Clippers versus the Jazz, and you told me that the Jazz were going to win on opening night. For them, I'd be pretty shocked, to say the least.
Yeah, 100%. And you just look at that starting lineup of Svi Mihailuk, Keontae George, Filipowski, Markkanen, and Kessler, and yeah, it just doesn't instill a lot of confidence. But they played really well, and look, honestly, a lot of these guys are still on waivers. And look, I'm going to mention Brian Sensabaugh as well. 20 and 4 off the bench. All these guys playing above 20 minutes and putting in. Yeah, honestly, putting the Clippers to the sword today. When it comes to the Clippers, I was surprised just to see John Collins come off the bench, but he did play starter minutes with Derek Jones Jr. only playing the 17 minutes. But I don't know, man. Like, I can't put it down to anything in particular. I just think Jazz started hot in Salt Lake City today.
Yeah, they played really, really well. Something for owners to make sure you don't look into too much. Ace Bailey was minutes limited. That was known coming into the game. He was unwell. It was minutes limited, meant to only have no more than 15. Got his 20. But I would expect those numbers to be bumped up once the illness clears, and him, I would probably see 25 plus out of that guy pretty confidently. On the other side, mate, we have what should have been the All-Star team back in 2014 here. But we had the starting lineup of James Harden, Bradley Beal, Derek Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard, and Zubac. Yeah, there was nothing really going on here. Nobody scored more than 20. A fair few guys getting double digits, but just nothing that really sets the world alight here.
Yeah, I'm not drawing a line through anyone. I'm not reading too much into it, nor hitting panic stations on any of my guys yet. Just being one game, but just one to watch. I think John Collins is probably a better fit in that starting lineup, despite playing starters minutes. So, yeah, just one to keep an eye on. Hey, mate.
Yeah, for sure. The other guy, if you're looking to stream threes at the big man spot, Brook Lopez shot 5 of 11 from three, and all 5 of his shots that he made were the threes. So he notched up 15 points today. Nice option there for somebody going for threes and needing somebody at the center position.
Mate, the actually this was another cracker too, but more from just being in awe of Victor Wembanyama. A stat line on
And
opening night of 40 and 15 with 3 blocks is sorry, shooting 71% is always wonderful. But it kind of took a bit of puff away from some of the other guys, just that amazing usage that Victor Wembanyama had from the center spot. Stephon Castle, if he's not owned, probably should be started with the 28 minutes. Should be owned until Fox comes back.
yep, yeah, for sure. Wemby with the 36% usage there, which is astronomical. So yeah, but yeah, Wemby was absolutely off chops today. Yeah, Stephon Castle, great option there. Dylan Harper showing some good play off the bench there. But yeah, with no Fox, I would expect once he comes back that his pathway to minutes could be a little more restricted there. Yeah, there's not really much else. Harrison Barnes somehow made his way into the starting unit yet again, and somehow always seems to be there. Only the 7 points for him there. On the other side, though, I'd say for a lot of owners, probably a bit disappointing for the guys that were taking Cooper Flag in the third round where his ADP had him sat. You did double double. So, yeah, 10 and 10, but no assists and only the one steal on the 31 and a half minutes. So, how did you take the number one picks opening night?
Yeah, we know it's always rough, unless your name's VJ Edgecombe coming in as a rookie and probably playing out of position for this guy too. Like obviously all preseason, I expected D'Lo to start. Didn't happen. Not that D'Lo played particularly well. I just wonder if it's better matchup wise out there. But the worst thing is that they made this lineup so that PJ Washington could get out there on the floor, and he was honestly a lot better than even Anthony Davis at times, looking at that, shooting 63% from the field, 17 and 5. He's one that you might find on your waivers, but yeah, I'm not going to be, hitting panic stations or anything yet. Cooper Flag, come out there as a rookie, got pumped, and got a double first game is probably going to be the headlines out there.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think there's anything too much to read into there. This is just the perks of owning a rookie is they will have great games and they will have mediocre games. That is just the way it's going to be. Anthony Davis, 22, 13, and assists, 2 steals and a block. Only shot 31% from the field, so not what owners would have been looking for there, but I would expect the big fella to bounce back there. Off the bench here, there's nothing really that I'd see other than Max Christie having more minutes than D'Lo. Anything to read into there, do you think, mate?
Look, not yet. I'm just going to see how it works out. If it's not working out I'm not holding D'Lo by all means. He's one that I'm dropping, but yeah, let's just see if they keep getting beaten. I didn't really expect the Spurs to be that good this year. If they keep trending the way that they're doing, they'll probably look to start adjusting that starting lineup again. So
Yeah, for sure. After that, we went over to Phoenix
do you
where
know
we
what?
had.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
Do you know
talk to me,
what
mate.
wasn't on my bingo card?
What's that?
Dylan Brooks taking more shots than Devin Booker today.
It's just such a Dylan Brooks thing to do, too, though. Like, if anyone wants to be the villain on his own team, it's Dylan Brooks.
Oh yeah, let's just go shoot 12% from 3. Look at me. I'm the captain now. But yeah, he took 24 shots for the Suns. Booker was great to be expected. Also, Iguodaro ended up starting today in a minute split with Mark Williams, which would worry me as an owner. But outside of that, there's not a heap to talk about when it comes to the Suns. But
Not really.
the Kings, is DeMar DeRozan the most timeless player of all time?
Pretty much, yeah. I have owned that man in a few leagues, and just seeing him just come out and drop, 29, 9, and 6, 2 steals and a block on great percentages, at least from the field, of 70%. He only went 44 from the line, but that is timeless. Only the one turnover too out of all that, 9 assists, one turnover. I'll take that ratio every day of the week. So yeah, just wonderful to see that out of him.
One that probably is available is Dennis Schroeder. I've made some jokes and didn't know exactly who was going to play the minutes between him, Westbrook, and Keon Ellis. It was definitely Dennis Schroeder in this one, and Malik Monk being the sixth man that we know he can be, with 19 points and basically no counting stats.
Yeah, if you're needing to stream points, Malik Monk is someone who may make his way there in 9 cat leagues because he isn't going to do much else in some categories. He'll give you some healthy shooting percentages, but he'll just give you points. So if you're needing to stream points, somebody to keep an eye out for there. But yeah, Dennis Schroeder had a good stat line too: 14, 7, a board, 2 steals, and a block. Not that I would expect that to be season average, but I think that's a pretty healthy stat line for him as well. And probably notably, Russ and Keon Ellis only had the 30 minutes between the two there, a split of 18 and 12. So yeah, I'd say they are pretty happy with that Dennis Schroeder lineup with him as the starter, but just something to still keep an eye on throughout the year. They have plenty of options they could go to if needed.
And the Timberwolves, a big comeback in this one. Honestly, I counted them as down and out, but off the back of Anthony Edwards, 41 and 7, they did manage to come back. A lot of minutes, not a lot of usage from some of the other guys. When I have a look at Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels, this is the Anthony Edwards show. We're just all here for it, which showed why he was a top 6 pick in the league. But if I had to target anyone to focus on, it's probably Terrence Shannon Jr., the rookie. 10, 5, and 5 off the bench in 25 minutes. Whereas, a lot of he played 6 more minutes than Naz Reid, an ex-6th man of the year. So that's probably the thing I was most excited and surprised about when it comes to this Minnesota team.
I think a few of us out here seen sort of Mike Conley being somebody who was expected to be used off the bench a bit. And if it wasn't him, I was probably expecting a bit of Rob Dillingham to be used as well. But no, it moved over to Terrence Shannon Jr. and he's proved that there's no reason to move away from those minutes. If he can put out that stat line on the regular coming off the bench, I'd be pretty happy for that. He actually had more minutes than Dante DiVincenzo as part of the starting unit. So,
and when it comes to Portland Trailblazers, and this will be the last one. Look, 33 minutes from Drew Holiday. I know a lot of people were drawing a line through some of these older guys, but talking about timeless games, look at Jeremy Grant, 29 and 3, shooting 71% off the bench. Whereas I did like the counting stats of Tamani Kamara and Denny Avdia. It just goes to show that Portland will try and win this year, and or at least to start the year, and they'll be using your Jeremy Grants and your Drew Holidays to try and get there. If for whatever reason Jeremy Grant isn't rostered, he is somebody that you could target, honestly, genuinely just for points and threes.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant, good option there. But I think other than that, it's probably what it reads on the tin, I guess, is the best way to look at this here. Donovan Clingham was great in the middle there. Yeah, Tamani Kamara put up 10, 9, and 5. Denny Avdia 27 and 1. All the percentages could have been better from the field, but other than that, I think there's not really much to look at on the bench here. Somebody who still, if you did need to stream steals, as they can often be a deciding point for some people, Matisse Thybulle in less than 14 minutes still gave us 2 steals. He still proves that he can do it and is probably only there to stream steals.
Mate, I didn't expect Rapid Fire to go for 34 minutes, but here is a game preview coming forward.
He's heating up.
To be honest, we did focus on those games a little bit more because there are only the two games going forward today, aren't there, mate?
Yeah.
And the Thunder, I've went ahead and added Aaron Wiggins before the first game when I saw Jalen was down. Oh, sorry, Jalen Williams. Sorry, that doesn't even help talking about the Thunder. Jalen Williams. But it just meant
Oh,
some more opportunities to some other guys. And there's a few injuries in this one to keep an eye on that might even mean more minutes for some of these guys, isn't there?
yeah, we've got still no J Dub. Alex Crusoe's had a concussion. We've got some obviously big minutes from Cason Wallace as well. He was noted as questionable. Same with Lou Dort as well. He's noted as questionable after a left ankle sprain. Something to keep an eye out there. So if you have out there an Aaron Wiggins, somebody that could be worth looking into. And yeah, I think that'll be really good to see what they can do. And yeah, I think that probably paves the way for him. And I think SGA is going to have to be involved much more, much earlier. And Chet Holmgren is probably going to have to take on a fair bit of load as well with a few of those guys out, as he did earlier in game one.
I expected more blocks from Chet. I was really disappointed there. But just the
Mm.
usage, the points, the threes were unreal from Chet. You talked a little bit off air about a couple of the paces that you were eyeing off, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so the Pacers are a really good team for this part, especially if you're limited on ads. In some leagues, you can be. I am jumping all over Mr. Obi Toppin. They are playing 3 games in 4 days, and they play on some of these off days like we do tomorrow with a 2-game. Someone else that can exist out there, you might find like an Andrew Naismith. They could exist out there. I think Isaiah Jackson got picked up earlier as well, and Jay Huff as well. So a few guys like that that you could see out there. I'd be jumping all over anyone you can for that.
Yeah,
So
when
yeah,
it comes to streamers, if you can pick up that extra game, just super valuable. Because like honestly, like even if they're not performing the way that you can, and much the same as like what we've been talking about with Şengün having an absolute blinder. The disappointing thing is he only does that for the 2 games this week. Whereas yeah, in the next little bit you can get so much value by targeting those paces players. So yeah, seeing Obi Toppin on the waivers is one that I just would really like to jump on. When I previewed the game before and was mentioning guys I'd like to pick up, to be honest, that was more for spots to keep possibly for the whole year. But whereas these Pacers guys, I'm probably happy to hold for a week and then drop them and target somebody else with a great schedule going forward.
yeah, for sure. There'll be someone you get off for the early part of next week, and jump off that boat and get on the next boat and ride somebody else into the sunset. Then we have Denver versus Golden State. This will be Denver and Indiana's first games of the year. There's really nothing notable at Denver to note here injury wise. They're all pretty standard. Is there anything else you see that's going to be much different from last year? Take out Michael Porter Jr., put in Cameron Johnson, plug and play for the starters at least.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find value in Denver, which is great for consistency on this team if you have drafted them. But yeah, until there's an injury, I'm kind of staying away from Denver. Mate, even even the Warriors have been relatively consistent. They've went and added Kuminga into their starting lineup. Of course, he should be rostered, especially that usage. You'll find on Maliute Basketball on Instagram him explaining what was realistic and what isn't from Kuminga. And yeah, it probably sits about 50-50 when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga's role. But yeah, look, right now they're trying to keep him happy. He's starting, and he started red hot for the year. Mate, is there anyone you would look at that might be on waiver wise from the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, Buddy Hield has showed that still got Buddy Hield types about him, and he's an October Magic man, that guy. So having him for dropping some threes early on in the season I'm always going to be looking for the opportunity if I can stream Buddy Hield if I'm chasing threes. I'm pretty good in most of my leagues for that, luckily, but I'd be looking for Buddy Hield.
Mate, with just the 2 games today, we should probably wrap it up. Who do you think's going to win these next 2?
I backed OKC in on. I didn't back OKC in on Monday. I will take OKC, and I reckon Denver's going to come out, and Denver's just captain consistent. I will take OKC and Denver, mate. Who are you going with?
I'm gonna go OKC and the Warriors. I liked what I saw from the Warriors the other day. I think that without too many moving parts of the Warriors, not that there's been too many moving parts with Denver. I think that they can come out red hot and beat them there. But mate, thanks again for this one. We'll be back again next week. Look, let us know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like. We'll probably consistently try and grow this show. Thursdays is going to have its own flavor. It's going to be me and Flanders every single week. And yeah, excited to do all this regular season stuff, mate.
Regular season is so good to get into, mate. I'm keen to start picking it apart and trolling the waiver wires and getting the right guys off it. So best of luck, and I hope you guys win your leagues, and I'll see you next week.
Cheerio.